It's just way cheaper to have a cow on the grazing than it is to have to go feed her with a tractor. And we learned that the hard way, for sure. We did that for years, just like everybody did. You would go feed the cows with the tractor. And then we had to change because it was either change and make the cows work harder for us, or I would have had to go back to work. And I didn't want to do that, so we had to be innovative.
One thing I do see a lot of, the traditional way of guys putting up hay, putting up green feed, stacking it, then bringing it back out in the pastures again or into the cropland. Why do that? Why not get the cattle in there, put a great swath grazing crop in there, and then go and get them to graze it, but at the same time they're improving your soil with the root matter that's going into the soil and with the manure and urine going down into the soil. So you've got a harvester and a fertilizer all in one unit. And to get guys to think about, okay, I'm cutting maybe 2 or 3 machinery passes out of my feeding program. You know, in 2 or 3 years' time, your fertilizer bill will start dropping down to at least a third of what you used to use. So it's all about cost savings with machinery, cost saving with time, and then cost savings with fertility. So here on Heather's and our operation for our winter grazing program, it's been a trial and error. I've been mixing different seeds up to see if I can get the competitive growth out of everything. We've come up with what we call the swath grazing mix now, which is Goliath or Winfred kale, Hunter forage turnip, and then sodbuster turnip. The swath grazing mix is going at 3 pounds an acre. The 40-10 forage peas is going at 10 to 12 pounds an acre, and I've cut the cereal back to about 50 pounds an acre, where I used to have about 100 pounds an acre of cereal. So I've given every plant room to reach its full potential, and then been watching the benefits with the sod busting turnips. They're half in the ground and half out of the ground, so the cattle are grazing the tops of them as they're frozen, and then I'm leading the rest to rot into the soil. Same with the Hunter. It's got a bigger tap-rooted bulb, and so I'm getting more organic matter into the soil that way. And then the 2 forage rapes, not a bigger turnipy kind of root, but a lot of foliage, so I'm making up for the foliage on the top side of there. And then the 40-10 forage peas, they're a fantastic forage pea. They're one of the best, and they put a lot of nitrogen in the soil, and they climb. They love to climb to reach the sun. So we're getting all that growth going up, and then the oats is doing the thing, a little bit of roughage and getting the seed into the system as well. But I find that it's taken me a couple of years to do this, and not everybody's going to use that kind of method. They might want some more ryegrass in, or they want more green cover. But I find after I've swathed, which I normally seed in around the middle of June, swath in the middle of September, and the kales and the turnips all get up and get going again. So I've got extra growth there. So I've got my swaths, and then in between my swaths, I've got the brassicas growing again, because they're all good to about -8, -10. You'll see later on, as I've taken the cream off the swaths, I'll be grazing in between the swaths, picking up the foliage that's regrowing after the swather has gone through.
One day in April, we were looking after the cows in the morning, and I opened up a gate to go feed the cows, and it was just nice hay, just nice hay. And then I looked back, and the cows were walking out the open gate. I'm like, oh crap. So I went to get them, and before I got all angry at them and chased them back, I looked at them, and they were eating that old grass. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute, that's nice hay over there, and they're choosing to eat that old grass. And I thought, okay, this is maybe something we should look at. And we did have a little bit left over from the fall, so we put them out there. And from that day ahead, that's when it changed the whole business.
When we started with swath grazing, it was 100 acres. And that was the first step we took. And it was innovative. We were like crazy to be doing this. We didn't know much about it, but we just started thinking and snowballing ideas. And we sent some of the bank grass off to a feed analysis, and You know, we just wanted to know what's in there. What are they after?
If you're closed-minded, you're gonna go broke. Like with us, if we stayed working with what we were doing, we would have went broke. So you have to try new things. If it don't work, that's okay. It's okay to fail. It's like we're all so scared to fail. It's okay to fail. And then you move on, you improve from it, you learn from it.
The Union Forage customers, they're not customers, they're a part of the solution. So it's just not about selling seed, it's not just about saying this is what you should do. It's just coming and listening and seeing where you want to achieve, because everybody's unique. Kevin and Roxanne Ziola at Penhold, new family, bought the farm out, and they wanted to do things more efficiently, so we looked at what their winter and summer programs were, and we devised a high legumes perennial stands for the summer with Sandpoint vetch alfalfa and grass, and for the winter we're using the brassica pea mix triticale for their winter grazing.
We did start small with the grass we'd leave in the spring, and then as the years go, we're like, hey, this is working, so let's get some more into this, and then we get the cows out a little earlier again, and then a little earlier again, and it's like, okay. And now all of a sudden we have hay left over, so now we have hay sales. So that totally opened up a new door for us. So now we have all the hay income too. We can now see the wheels are turning. We're starting to make some money now. It's totally freed up our time. The cows working for us has given us a lot more time to go do other things.
I get a husband, and it's important that he's a dad to our little girl. You know, like swimming lessons, he's there. I haven't seen a dad there, and he is, and that is so important. You know, it's important we have a balance of work and freedom.
I think we have to each look at our own operation and say what is going to work for me, what's feasible for me, what's economical. I'm not going to be able to do all the ideas of all my friends. Definitely keep my mind open to see what others are doing, but see how that would work into my unique operation. Last spring, we kind of had this thing in our mind to do a little more extended grazing after our silage. So that's when I heard about Graham here at Union Forge. So we decided we're going to plant a ryegrass, brassica mix, and some just straight ryegrass. We blew it onto our field. Before we planted our silage, we went in and planted a little lower rate of our cereals. And just a real experiment for us, some totally new, turned out really well. You know, we cut our silage a little bit early, and we had good rains, which helped. But that brassica and ryegrass, that grew up, that gave us a whole month of grazing in later fall. Another new one we experimented with last year was these chaff piles. Behind a barley crop, we dumped chaff piles. It's called a chaff buncher. It's a small little apparatus you bolt on the back axle of your combine, a set of fingers out there, and it's a counterbalance thing. It's quite a simple little machine, but it catches all your straw, your chaff, all your thrown over grains. They are collected in there, and as it gets enough weight, it tips it, dumps it in piles every maybe 30 feet, or depends on the crop. So it collects all your straw, your chaff, and your grain in there. So that one we're really excited about as well. That one extended our grazing this year until just about till the end of January. Here we are beginning of February, and we have grazed until just lately now, just within the last week. So to us, that's a real step forward that we can graze that long. We want to dump a lot more of these chaff piles. We can use that as our roughage for the winter and find a source of energy and protein that is a lot less bulky and a lot easier to feed. Those are options that I'm searching out now. That's the direction I think that we're gonna head.
If we've got a new customer coming in, well, we can say, hey, look, you should talk to Joe Blow in that area. He's doing similar to what you want to do. and then visit with him and make up a plan from what he's doing from Leader, Saskatchewan, out at Bert Anderson's, or Ben Stewart's up at Hardesty, or Roger Myers down in Minton, Saskatchewan. Everybody's got a different way of doing things, but if we can help guys network within the Union Forage group of guys, it's a brotherhood or a family, but all the guys there are looking at doing different things. So if we can point them in the right direction and start them thinking along that way, well then, you know, they'll come back and hopefully be a Union Forage customer, and they can help write another chapter in the extended grazing and the forages programs with cover crops and perennials.